hello everyone, and thank you for watching my 248 video tutorial. In the previous lecture I have created this tile script and I haven't actually checked it for any errors, and right now when I go to Unity I'm getting this error that says cannot implicitly convert type int into a string, and if I double click on this error Unity will open MonoDevelop for me. So yes, errors actually do happen. So Unity highlights this line number 18 for us that says tile.text, which is a string, and I am trying to assign to this text a number from our tile styles that is actually an int. So I have to convert it to string by saying dot to string. So I will go to file and hit save, and when I return to Unity everything should be fine. Alright, so now Unity is loaded and we don't get any errors. In the current state of our project, if I launch our game, nothing will actually change in the layout of our game field, and what we want to achieve by the end of this lecture is I want the game field to reset itself and to make all the tiles empty so that we can start a new game. So to achieve this effect, I'll go back to my MonoDevelop, and in this class called tile that we have put together during our last lecture, I will add a couple of new methods. So the first method will be private void, and I'm going to call it setVisible. This method will make our tile visible and it will turn on both the text component and the image component that we have on our tile. So I will make it say tile image dot enabled, which means we will enable this component equals true, and tile text dot enabled equals true. So I will enable both of these components. Right now in our scene they are already enabled, but if we are going to disable them and then change something, we will need to re-enable. So that's the first method, and the second method will be also private, and it will be void, so it won't return anything, and it will be called setEmpty. I would like to capitalize this E letter, and in this method we are going to do pretty much very similar things. So I'm going to copy everything that I had in my previous method and paste it into this method, except we are going to disable our tile image script and our tile text script. So I will write tile image enabled equals false, and tile text enabled will also be equal to false. So what these two methods will do is when we call setEmpty, it will just clear our tile so that we can see that only an empty tile graphic, but we won't see the actual tile and the number on the tile. And if we then call setVisible, our tile gets enabled once again, and we can now see both the tile image and the tile text. Another thing that I'd like to add to this class is our tile should actually have a number. So I will create a private variable that will say private number, starting with a small letter, and I should have actually given it a type. We'll make it an int, so it's a private integer variable that will be called number. And for this private integer variable I would like to create a property. So I will say public integer number from the capital letter, and I'm going to write two accessors. First will be get, and another one will be set. A property is basically an interface for interaction with this private variable that's called number. And what we can do with properties is when we are trying to set this variable, so we are trying to put something into this private number variable, we can perform a list of certain actions. So it's very similar to calling a method. So when we assign some value to this variable, we will call this method that's called set, and when we will try to get something from the variable number, we will call this method that's called get. So our get method, it will be very simple. Because it's an int property, we have to return an int, so we will return, and we will return the value of our private variable that is called number with a small letter n in the beginning. And in our set method we will do something funky. So first we would like to actually set the value of our private number variable. So we will write number equals value, and value is something that we get when we interact with this public property. So if we write number with a capital letter equals 2, which means that 2 will be our value, so we will write this value into our number variable. And now I would like to introduce a little convention. Let's make it so that if we assign a value of 0 to our number variable, we will make this style empty. So I will write if our number variable equals to 0, then I will call this method setEmpty, else, which means that the value that we are trying to assign is not 0. First call our method applyStyle number. Then we have to set our tile visible, so we will call setVisible method. So what this property will do for us is really simple. If we supply some value to this number property, it will first transmit it into our private variable that's called number. Then it will check if our number equals 0, it will make the style empty, and else, which means our number is not equal to 0, we will apply the style for this style, which will change the color of our image and the color of our text. And then we just set the style visible so that users can see it. So we can make our tiles empty or apply different styles to our tiles just by assigning an integer to this variable called number. So next I would like to go to our game manager, and here in the start method I'm going to write tile array, and I'm going to create a new tile array, but it will be available for us only in this start method, and I will call it all tiles 1 dim, which means it will be a one-dimensional array. And I will use this method that says game object find game objects of type. So I will find multiple game objects of our type tile. So what this will do effectively is it will find all the tiles in our scene and it will store them in this array that is called all tiles 1 dim. And then I will create this little loop that will say for each, and I will open these brackets for each tile, and I have to give it some sort of a name, so I will call it T in our array of tiles, so that is called all tiles 1 dim. I will say T dot number equals 0, and that's basically it. So I will go to file and I will save this script, and I will also go to our tile script and save that as well. And now I have to attach our tile scripts to all the tiles that we have in our scene. So I will just select all the tiles that we have by pressing on the first tile in hierarchy, then holding shift and pressing on the last tile in hierarchy, and I will drag our tile script and drop it into inspector. I don't have to add the script manually to each tile separately. I can just add the script to all the tiles at once. And once I release, we have this tile script attached to all our tiles. And now let's run our game and see how it works. So I will go and hit play. And once our game launches, we can see that all the tiles have disappeared. By calling this start method in our game manager script, what it did is it has found all the tiles in the scene, and then for each tile in this array it has assigned 0 to its number property. And then if we go to our tile script, we can see that when 0 is assigned to our number property, it gets checked. If we have assigned a value of 0, we have set our tiles empty. And what setEmpty does, I will scroll down and we can see that it disables our tile image and our tile text. So in this lecture we have come up with an effective way of interacting with our tiles, and we have learned how to clear the field to start the new game. And in the next video we are going to create a new method in our game manager script that will be responsible for generating new tiles on our game field. So thank you for watching and see you in the next video.